deep woods, logging roads, anything, it's going to look pretty familiar to you. I'm on the side of a big ridge. You've got the top of this thing, it's got a road on it, very bottom of it's got a road on it, and this is nicknamed the Shelf Road because it's about halfway down. It's the only flat ground, and there's a road on it. Historically, behind me, there's a den about 3/4 of a mile. Now, all the pups are out of the den and stuff, but a lot of them will go back and visit, and the adults will too. So always get a couple sets on this. This is nothing but a big dirt hole, and I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna put a flat set in. So I've got 2 sets right here, and I can check them pretty easy from the road, but it blocks up his whole shelf road as animals travel back and forth. And a flat set in this mountain ground like this, it does wonders, because a lot of times a big showy set like this one, leaves are going to fall on it and it starts getting almost like a flat set anyway. But we're going to put a flat set on it over here with a 3 long spring, got long chain. I'll show you why I use that. Seems like a lot of chain, and it is. I've got a lot of traps set up this way, but the reason is because I trap a lot of mountain type areas, is I can just run this around the tree hook it through the chain, and there's no way that a coyote's going to be able to get this off. And it's a pretty fast way to do it, and I don't have to put a stake in. Well, it's usually a pretty fast way to do it. There we go. There's no way that a coyote's going to be able to get that off, and that sitting there is not going to make any difference whatsoever. Okay, now a flat set, like I've said before, all it is putting lure in front of a trap. If we were out in the west and you'd see them putting it on a sagebrush or something like that, same concept. Now we're just in the east and we got the leaves and you don't have sagebrush. I don't like putting lures directly on rocks. I think that's bad because it gets washed off real easy. But all I do when I'm looking for somewhere to set a trap is something that's on the travelway, which I'm right on the travelway, somewhere that I can hide the lure or bait from the animal. We've got this root coming down right here. All I'm going to do is tuck that smell in behind that. I'm going to come right here and I'm going to put the trap. When I'm in the mountains like this and you're in soft, loamy type ground, you have a lot of decomposed leaves, you don't have dirt per se, it's a whole lot harder to bed a coil spring, and that's where these long springs really shine. And my distance off where I'm going to put my tractor is about 12 inches. I'm gonna put it right there. I could put it over here if I wanted to. I'm just looking how I think the coyote's going to come up here. So I'm going to get me a trap bed in real quick. Flat sets can be anything. We're going to have a segment in a minute. We're just going to walk down the road and I'm going to show you the thousands. Well, I'm not going to show you 1,000, but you'll get the gist of it. All the different type of flat sets Mother Nature gives you. All you have to do is use them. Just by the nature of the long spring having more contact with the ground, the more easy it's going to bed. And I like them for a lot of different reasons, but that's one of the big ones when I get in mountain terrain like this. This stuff is spongy, and it's almost impossible to get a coil spring in here where it's tight the way you want it. That's all you got to do to a long spring. get a lot of wind up here, so all I'm going to do is put just enough dirt just to keep that peat moss from disappearing. Well, I want to, when I'm dealing with leaves, I'm wanting to start on the outside and work in. All the functioning part of this trap is right here, so I can bring in heavier material that still looks dry and looks normal on the outside of this, and I'm wanting to pat it down. You got to know where your trap's at or you'll be wearing it. Any disturbed dirt, stuff like that. And right inside of this is my jaws. Now this is the part you got to be careful with. Now, an animal's not going to know where that trap is at. Competition's not going to know where that trap is at, for that matter. If I was really worried about competition, I'd put that chain a little bit lower and cover it up, but I'm behind locked gates, so I'm not going to worry about it. Well, we've got our trap in. You can see how easy it is to blend it in these leaves. Don't be afraid of them. I'm going to take some Boss Dog. And all I'm going to do is right behind this root is I'm going to pour it. That's all I'm going to do to this set. That's all that is needed, besides adding our urine. Collect my stuff so I don't spill it all over me. If you're used to having to have a big hole, you're not going to trust these type sets at first. But you give them an honest try and they'll work. Now if the wind happens to be wrong on this, going to take this urine and I'm going to come across that road with it, almost like a trailing scent. That's all that set is. That set's just as good as any of them that you've seen in old western books, and they work just as good in the east. A lot of times better, because your coyotes are on different properties. Everybody's throwing in dirt holes. Give them something different and you'll catch them pretty good. That's all it takes.